Good morning, all. Okay, we'll continue our book reading this morning, The Toyota Way to Service Excellence by Jeffrey K. Leica and Karen Ross. Still looking at NL Service Incorporation. Last week we looked at getting to know the organization culture and issues. We also looked at narrowing the problem space and establishing a team. Still on a short story, developing lean process, we'll be looking at reflection, narrowing problem space, and also establishing the team. Remember, it's still a story of NL Service Incorporation, Sam and Leslie, the consultant. So in this meeting, Leslie is energized by her time at the Gemba. Like I explained last week, Gemba means workshop, like a factory or a place where work is being done and where learning and development also is being done. So in the meeting, Leslie is energized by her time at the Gemba and she sees Sam in his usual state of panic, seeking solution to today's problem. Again, Leslie will not bite. Instead, she points out the large gap between the vision he crafted and the current reality. She has selected John's region for the first pilot program. She knows that it is important to win over John, and she also knows she needs strong support from Sam to move forward. There is a clear direction. She needs to pull together a team that will work through customer issues as an outsider. Leslie cannot solve the problem of the NL service in a sustainable way. She is also continuing to coach Sam to change his way of thinking and managing a shift from fighting fires to making the numbers by remote control to going to the Gemba to understand the actual concerns of customers and how they are handled by his organization. In so doing, she's teaching him to put into practice one of Dr. W. Edwards Deming's 14 points. Understanding the current state. Leslie had arrived early. The parking lot of the operations building had almost been empty, but she wanted to give herself enough time to set up and review and make sure everything was ready. She tapes the long piece of butchered paper that would later become a diagram of She tapes the long piece of butchered paper that would later become a diagram of the process steps used by credit transaction processors to the well. She then reflected on her meeting with Sam and thought, I'm definitely lucky on this one. Sam was much more open to listening than most of the senior leaders she encountered. And not only was Sam willing to listen, but he actually had made good on his promise of going to see for himself. True to his word, 2 weeks ago, Sam had cleared his calendar and he had spent the money in operations, watching and listening as the credit transaction processors answered calls and entered transactions into the system. Sam had obviously been surprised. Not at all like I remembered it, he had said to Leslie. Why do the credit transaction processors have so many papers on their desk? And why do they have to keep getting up and going over to look for their CTPMs? Every time they leave their desk, the phone rings and they miss a call from one of our customers. And even more importantly, where are the CTPMs? They don't even seem to be in their cubicles. Leslie was pleased that Sam had been paying attention and was asking so many questions. Not sure, Sam, said Leslie. Only way to find out is to ask. Sam has spent another hour or so talking with the credit transaction processors and the 1 city PMs that could finally be found. Leslie could see that Sam was listening carefully. As the credit transaction processor headed off for lunch, Sam and Leslie found a small conference room to sit in. Leslie, said Sam, I have to admit that I'm really surprised by what I'm seeing and hearing. I know that the numbers I get from corporate haven't been good, but every time I ask the regional managers about it, they send me spreadsheet and PowerPoint decks showing that everything is getting better. Just from spending the morning here, though, I can see that things are really a mess. The CTPMs are never around. The phones are ringing off the hook. It's obvious that the credit transaction processors can't keep up and aren't happy. And if I were a customer, I wouldn't be happy either. And I wouldn't have believed it unless I had seen it for myself. We've got to do something and we've got to do it fast. And so this morning, Leslie was preparing to work with a team of 3 credit transaction processors and 3 CTPMs that Sam and John, the regional manager, had helped her put together. The six team members headed for the small conference room to meet Leslie. Although the team members had been a little bit skeptical at first. After all, we've been telling our CTPMs about the problems for years, and no one's listened to us before. Kathy, the credit transaction processor that Leslie had spent time with on her first visit to operations, had said things were different now that they saw how serious Sam looked. When have we ever had 3 days off the phone to do something like this? Tabitha, one of the other credit transaction processors on the team, asked. For a change, they were getting excited as something positive might happen. Rounding out the teams were Joe, Kathy, CTPM, Jog, Tabitha's CTPM, and Laura, a CTPM, along with one of Laura's credit transaction processors, Jimmy. I trust Leslie, Joe had assured them. She came and watched Kathy and me work, and after she saw what was going on, especially the problem with the transaction with more than 10 lines, she really got Sam all fired up and got the ball rolling. I really believe she's going to be able to help us figure things out so we can make things better for us and our customers. Okay, this is your stuff for our reading this morning. Still telling us a short story about the NL Service Incorporation. Today we read on understanding the current state. So Leslie had to visit their offices in different branches, visit their managers to actually know what was going on in the organization. She also went with one of the managers from the head office to other offices that they had to know what was going on, and she saw where the problems were coming from, and she decided to put together a team, like I said, narrowing the problem and establishing a team. So she helped identify the problem and also created a team that will be able to bring up a solution for the problems they're actually facing. And these teams were made up of different managers or different people from different departments. Okay, so this is where we'll stop for our reading this morning. Thank you.